Good evening, students. Now we are going to discuss about Keynes' psychological law of consumption. Keynes propounded the fundamental psychological law of consumption, which forms the basis of the consumption function. Already we know that flowchart, Keynes flowchart, consumption function and investment function. Among them, now we are going to discuss about consumption function. How people act according to their psychological and mind, like that the fundamental psychological law upon which we are entitled to depend with great confidence, both prior from our knowledge of human nature and from the detailed facts of experience, is that men are disposed as a rule and on average to increase their consumption as their income increases, but not by as much as the increase in their income. It may be confused to you for this detailed definition, so that we have to understand easily what he is trying to say, that people have experience and detailed facts. On the basis of these two, whenever his income increases, consumption also increase. Note the point: when income increases, consumption also increase, but not as much as income increases. இன்கம் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகிற அளவுக்கு கன்சம்ஷன் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகாது அப்படின்றத கீன்ஸோட கான்செப்ட். சி he said simply manner, the law implies that there is a tendency on part of the people to spend on consumption less than that full increment in income. When income increases, consumption also increase, okay, but income increase ஆன அதே அளவுக்கு consumption increase ஆகாது, less than that full increment in income. Here we have an illustration. Now the income is 2000 rupees. He consumed two rolling chair. Income increase like that 20,000 like that, but the consumption will not increase as much as income increases. He now buy just 3 rolling chairs, but his income is increased 20,000 from 2,000. Okay, now you may understand clearly. In economics, every law has some assumptions, like that Keynes psychological law also having following assumptions. First assumption is ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus means we have learned in first year itself, other things being equal. What we discuss, when income increases, consumption also increase. We have to keep other things constant, like income distribution, taste, habits, social customs, price movement, population growth. All these things should be constant. Our income increases, consumption also increase. So consumption depends income alone. That is why the assumption is ceteris paribus, other things remaining same. Second assumption is existence of normal condition. Keynes psychological law applicable only in normal condition, not in extraordinary conditions like war, revolution, hyperinflation, and now corona. For these extraordinary abnormal situations, Keynes law will not applicable. See, the law holds good under that normal conditions. If, however, the economy is faced with abnormal and extraordinary circumstances like war, revolution, or hyperinflation, or corona, the law will not operate. The people may spend the whole of increased income on consumption. What he said, when income increases, all the increased income will not spend, but in these situations, whatever may be the increased income, all such income should be spent on consumption. So his law will not applicable in extraordinary condition, which is applicable only in normal conditions. Then Existence of a laissez-faire capitalist economy. Laissez-faire means non-intervention by the government. See, no government intervention. This law operate in rich capitalist economy where there is no government intervention. People should be free to spend increase income. Whatever may be the income that should be spent by the people. In the case of regulation of private enterprise and the consumption expenditure by the state, the law breakdown. If it is regulated by the private enterprise, then the law will not be applicable. It will be breakdown. For his theories law explanation, he has three propositions of the law. First proposition, when income increases, consumption expenditure also increases, but by a smaller amount. Note the first proposition, increase, but what's the amount? A smaller amount. The reason is that as income increases, our wants are satisfied side by side. We know that. So that the need to spend more on consumer goods diminishes. That is the point he has focused. When income increases, all the increased income will not spend. That is, he mentioned here, the spend more on consumer goods diminishes. So the consumption expenditure increases with increase in income, but less than the proportionality. Second proportion, the increased income will be divided in some proportion between consumption expenditure and saving. We said that all the increased income will not spend. So அந்த ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணாத அமௌண்ட் எங்கே போகுது? That should be equally divided to consumption and savings, increased income. This follows from the first proportion because when whole of increased income is not spent on consumption, the remaining is for save. In this way, consumption and saving moving together. Then third proportion, increase in income always leads to increase in both consumption and saving. This means that increased income is unlikely to lead a fall in their consumption or saving. Thus, with increased income, both consumption and saving increase. This schedule can explain clearly. Income increases 120 to 180, 180 to 240, and consumption also increase same proportion, not in the same proportion, but less than that increase in income. See, 120 to 170. That is, here income increases 60, but consumption increase only 50. 60 minus 50, we have 10 for savings. Then income increase 180 to 240. Consumption also increase 170 to 220. This is also less than that of increased income. The remaining amount will be saved. That is rupees 20. The explanation of the table proportions. Income increase by 60 crores and increase consumption is by 50 crores. 120 to 180, 60 crores. 120, 170, the difference between these two, 50 crores for consumption. Second proportion, the increased income, we know that 60 crores. This will divided in some proportion between consumption and savings. For consumption, 50 crores is allocated, the remaining 10 crores will be saved. That is second proportion. Then third proportion, as income increase, consumption as well as saving also increase. Neither consumption nor saving has fallen. These two things, when income increases, both are increasing, consumption and saving. It's never false because increase in income. Shall we have explain in diagrammatically? There are three proportions explained in the following diagram. The income is measured in x-axis, consumption and saving measured on y-axis. The C curve. The C curve is consumption function curve and 45-degree line curve is represents income consumption equality in the area. These two areas are equally divided by the 45-degree line. Already we discussed. Then diagrammatically the three proportions will be explained the following way. First proportion, when income increases from 120 to 180, consumption also increases from 120 to 170, but increase in consumption is less than that of income. The remaining 10 rupees, this portion is saved. Remaining 10 is saved. Then second proportion, income increases from 120 to 180, 180 to 240. Here also consumption increases from 120 to 170, 170 to 220. Here 60 crores, here 50 crores. We have minus these two. ரெண்டே மைனஸ் பண்ணினா உனக்கு என்ன கிடைக்கும் 20 rupees. So the remaining amount will be saved, this portion. What the two curve indicating that the gap between C curve and 45-degree curve line shows that savings gap. This area will be saved. Whatever may be the income increases, consumption also increase, but less than that of increase income, so that the remaining amount will be saved. Third proportions also the same way explain. Increases income from 180 to 240, consumption also increase 220 to 240, 180 to 240, 220 to 240. The remaining amount will be saved. The two curves, 45-degree line and consumption curve, the gap between these two curves indicating that saving, how much is saving, the amount will be indicated here.